I suppose this is the part of the video where I tell you to grab a nice hot cup of coffee and relax and sit back, but I'm not going to do that, okay? You can drink a tall can of beer if you want. I don't really care. Although I will say, don't go around going like, hey, the YouTube man told me. No, if you're of age, okay, then do it. If not, then just, stay away from that stuff. But seriously, guys, drink whatever you want. Mountain Dew, it doesn't matter. I will say drink more water, because I went to a public restroom the other day and somebody didn't flush the urinal. And dude, your kidneys, they're begging for water, okay? Nobody's urine should stink that much and be that yellow. Just saying, okay? Anyways, let's get straight into today's video. It's going to be that kind of day, okay? I'm an absolute zombie right now. I've been working 12-hour shifts all week. I'm absolutely dead. And I have to say, I've been trying to keep the positivity going here, but it's kind of hard. And somebody actually left a comment the other day that kind of got under my skin a little bit. They said that all I do is complain and rant on YouTube, and that I should just like jump off of a bridge or something crazy like that. Well, I might have made that second part up, but yeah, they did say that I was just like always complaining, and I probably didn't even collect action figures. That first part definitely hurt. I haven't done like a collection video or a display video in so long, because honestly, it's like in the corner of my living room. It's like a bunch of boxes with like 2 glass display cases and a shelf, and they're just like not very organized. It appears like every time I actually pose my figures up, my kids make like an extra effort to knock all of them over. But eventually I'll do a video where I showcase some of my figures. And honestly, guys, I do have a ton of figures to review. I probably have like a few hundred, like action figures still like in packaging. I just don't have time. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I'd sometimes I just rather prefer to like sit in front of a microphone and just rant or, talk about action figures rather than review them. Sometimes I just open them up and play around with them and pose them. But, I'll get around to it eventually. I will say it kind of hurt me because honestly, I think the channel as a whole has actually been pretty positive over the past few months. Like, I don't think it's anything too crazy. I would say like out of like my last 100 videos, maybe 15 of them have been semi-negative or just rants or complaining, quote unquote. For me personally, I've tried to, find a new common ground, or I should say a more balanced approach to just action figure content in general. And I think I've done a pretty good job of it. I didn't necessarily appreciate the comment, but whatever. Look, I will say this is going to be a video where I'm definitely going to complain. I'm definitely going to rant on, but I promise I'm going to stop now, okay? I'm going to stop the negativity, the ranting for a little bit, and we'll talk about just action figure news, because there are actually a few big announcements and reveals that we need to cover. But in today's video, I actually just wanted to break down essentially what's happening, because it feels like as soon as Hasbro decided to release that ridiculous Marvel Legends Magic crossover wave for $40 each, McFarlane essentially decided to one-up them. They just announced their new Super Friends action figure wave, which includes like, I don't know, Toyman, Superman, Cheetah, Flash, a couple of other figures, and they're retailing for $24.99. Am I missing something here? Last time I checked on the 1966 Batman series wave, I'm going off of like recent memory. I think they were under $15 or about $15, which means there's been now a price hike of $10 on these action figures. They have very limited articulation. They usually don't come with that many accessories, and the sculpt work is just like very plain and simple. You can pick up a $22.99 DC Multiverse action figure at the moment of this recording that has way better articulation, way better sculpted detail, amazing paint apps compared to these buffoon figures. It just doesn't compute in my tiny little brain how it is that people are falling for this. $25 for a Super Friends action figure? Some of these have trouble just standing upright. You know what I mean? Like, most people are just picking these up, throwing them on their wall, or keeping them mint on card. It just makes absolutely no sense to me that you can pick up a DC Multiverse action figure for $22.99 at the moment, and you can also pick up a Super Friends action figure for $24.99. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I will say the price point for the DC line has been all over the place. I've seen, DC Multiverse action figures from $22.99 all the way up to like $27.99, depending on where you pick it up from, whether it's Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, GameStop, Amazon. It doesn't matter. The price points are all over the place. If you're looking at like a page punchers, it's from like 25 to about 29, and then if you're looking at like the collector's edition line, it's about $35 to $38. It's just really difficult to keep track of price points for the DC line. But yes, you can pick up a DC Multiverse action figure for under what you would pick up a Super Friends figure. Now, this to me is a huge red flag, okay? Because we just talked about Hasbro and their epic tank job that they did with their whole Marvel Legends line, which, by the way, if you guys want a quick little rant on that, I do have a separate video, a little thumbnail on the video, or I'll, throw a link in the description if you guys are interested in actually watching that video. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it was kind of a similar situation where there's this gigantic price hike because of X and Y factors. We don't know exactly why. They haven't necessarily explained it, aside from maybe that they added a few extra accessories and a magic card. Is that really the new price increase? Is it worth the extra $15 that you're paying for these action figures? I'm not 100% sure, but it feels similar to what McFarlane is doing here, and I think they're ready to up the game again. They're ready to up the price points for these figures. If you're paying $24.99 for a Super Friends action figure, and by the way, I'm only going off of Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store, which they usually tend to mark it up a little bit. So I'm going to assume that maybe on Amazon they were a little bit cheaper. I haven't checked the Amazon listings, but I'm just going off of Big Bad Toy Store. Still, $24.99 is a pretty hefty price point to pay. And this only tells me, or I think further proves my point, that there is a pretty giant price hike incoming from McFarlane. It would just make absolutely no sense to continue releasing DC Multiverse action figures at like a $23 to $25 price point when you're already selling the Super Friends line at $24.99. Let's not forget, this is the end of the license for him. He's a few months away, or maybe under a year away from completely losing the line. And so it just makes perfect sense for him to try to cash in as much as he possibly can. But I think in the process of doing that, he is kind of like alienating his entire fan base. It's worth mentioning, which is kind of hilarious, but some of these action figures have actually sold out from multiple different retailers, whether it's Big Bad or Entertainment Earth. It's insane that people are actually picking up these action figures. And it's also worth noting that I constantly get comments of like certain fan bases attacking other fan bases. Like sometimes I'll throw a little bit of shade at Hasbro, and then there will be somebody in the comment section that just is glazing up McFarlane. You know what I mean? Like he's just talking absolute wonders about the guy. And then if I throw shade at McFarlane, the Hasbros are in the comment section just, completely losing their minds and bashing McFarlane. But this just goes to emphasize that I think it's across the board. Like there are a ton of manufacturers doing really weird, shady things at the moment. And some of it isn't really weird or shady. It's just, I guess, kind of greedy. We have Hasbro just releasing their Marvel Legends $40 price point. We have McFarlane releasing their Super Friends line at $24.99 or $25 essentially. And then we just recently had one of my favorite manufacturers in Jada Toys up a lot of their price points. Their new Scooby-Doo line is $30. That's a hefty price point to pay for a somewhat obscure line that not everybody is picking up. It feels like a very niche line, and yet they're asking for $30. There are also some restocks on the Jada Toy Street Fighter action figures that are also going for about $30, and that appears to be their new price point for their lower end collectibles, at least at that 1/12 scale. I believe even the new Mega Man action figures are going up for pre-order at $30. So I think it's across the board. It's not just like one manufacturer doing this. I think everybody is doing it. I will say, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, and maybe not just one thing, multiple different things, but this is the one thing that I've constantly emphasized when talking about different manufacturers, and that is the fact that a lot of them are being very quiet right now. If there are issues happening, if the tariffs are really affecting them to like such a high extent that they're having to raise prices, or if there's like a raw good that's going up in price, or something is getting very difficult to acquire and that may have to do with the price increase, they should just be transparent and talk about it. I think the worst thing that you can do right now is just stay quiet and allow everybody to just speculate. Like, I'm not going to sit here and conduct like a lengthy investigation as to why this is happening. At the end of the day, what are we going to do? We're going to turn around and blame the manufacturer, and that's exactly what's happening at the moment. We're just turning around and saying McFarlane's being really greedy, or Hasbro's being really greedy with a $40 Marvel Legends that probably should cost $25, maybe $28. And so I think the further we get into this entire situation, I think the more bad publicity is going to be attached to those lines. I think the best thing that they can do is just come forward, be a little bit more transparent, talk about things openly. And if they want to talk about the tariffs, ladies and gentlemen, they can do so. If they want to talk about it positively or negatively, I don't think we should shun them or keep them from speaking their mind. I think that's like a kind of a trend that's happening right now in this country, where people are being silenced. People don't want to hear it. People don't want that transparency when it comes down to tariffs. I think everybody should be able to just speak their mind and talk about it openly. Even if somebody disagrees with you, sometimes you can listen to their perspectives. I often do it in the comment section. There are people that attack me, or they completely disagree with me, but they make some fair points, and I acknowledge their fair points and then give them my perspective. And I think it's important to have those type of conversations. And I think the worst thing that they can do right now is stay quiet, because it's making them look really badly. And it's across the board. It's Jada Toys doing it. It's McFarlane doing shady work, and now Hasbro with their $40 price point Marvel Legends action figures. This is only getting worse, and hopefully I think they start to kind of listen to the consumer and they find ways to work around this entire situation. But as always, this is just my personal opinion, my personal take. As I promised, moving forward, we're going to be, stay away from the negativity, stay away from the nonsense. Let's clarify, this is a channel about action figures. It's not about anything else. Let's not pollute it with nonsense and buffoonery. Let's keep talking about action figures. So moving on, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit more positive and a lot less negativity, good vibes around the channel. So as always, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys happy? Did you guys pick up any of these pre-orders? Are you just going to bite the bullet and just stay quiet? Or is there, something that you want to get off your chest? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Make sure to enjoy the hobby, pose your action figures, play around with them. It's always important to kind of like remember why it is that you collect action figures. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to stay tuned. We are uploading pretty consistently at the moment. We're uploading on a daily basis, and I absolutely love it. So stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next one.